Hey, Peter.
Hey, Adam.
How important are intros?
Hold on a second. I'm reading the introduction to this episode right now. Classic bebop. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, very important.
I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear podcast.
Music advice floating towards you via the airwaves and the pod funnel.
Floating towards
funnel.
you.
Yeah.
Funneling at you.
Funneling.
Reluctantly.
That's right. No, gracefully.
Gracefully funneling towards
through
you.
I was going to say through the airwaves, but no one's getting this through the air. Well, through the Wi-Fi.
Tumbling near you via the Bluetooth Wi-Fi.
Man, Bluetooth sucks. On a side note, but doesn't it? It's glitchy. And it's got latency.
Sorry? What? Bluetooth?
Hey, my name is Peter. How you doing, man? Bluetooth. I don't.
We're talking about intros. You just go in full bore on.
I want to introduce
Bluetooth?
you to a concept. That's how it fits with today.
That Bluetooth. Why does Bluetooth suck?
Because it's got latency, which for musicians is no good. No bueno.
That is no bueno.
Yeah. And I don't know. And the sound quality is not good. I don't like it when they come out with technology that's kind of going backwards. Like, so if you think about, and I don't know, maybe I don't have the latest Bluetooth. I mean, I got the AirPods because they're convenient if you want to make a phone call. But if you're going to listen to some music, I could go to my dad's house and get some of his headphones.
Yeah.
Some costs.
Yeah.
Headphones from 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are probably $400 now that I think about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're going to sound great.
No, but I'm saying like just the corded technology sounds so much better. Are we musicians or are we animals?
No, I agree. So, I have my whole stereo set up at home with my receiver and everything. I have some of these. Some of the old Sonys.
Yeah.
Studio cans.
Oh, I thought you were just pointing to your ears. You're like, I got some of these.
Well,
I know how to hear,
well,
buddy.
I do got some of those too. No, I got the old, I don't know, what are these? These are
These are the MDR 7506s.
Oh my gosh,
this
you
is
know about
man. I've been buying these since the late 80s.
Well, you hit me to these. I had no idea about them. They're fairly affordable for how good they are.
You can grab them for like $80,
man,
maybe even 100.
They sound killing.
We will link below in this episode's show notes where you can pick up a pair because we have some good sourcing on that.
Shout out to Sony.
You know
making a quality product.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, I remember, speaking of Sony, having some headphones years ago. I don't know if you remember these. The Budokans.
It sounds what?
The Budokans.
Budokans, isn't that a Star Trek movie?
It may be. But the Budokan was some excellent headphones they made for a while. And it was named after like a stadium or some kind of venue in Tokyo.
Wow.
The Budokan.
The Budokan, like the Hague.
Like the Hague, yes. The Budokan. Yeah, exactly.
Man.
So what are we talking about today? You mentioned intros in the intro, and so that kind of, you got me a little frazzled there because it was like Doppio time.
Yeah. Well, today we're talking about 7 classic intros. So check it out. There's a PDF linked here in the description of the podcast app. There's a PDF here in the description of YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. And so you can follow along here with our 7 classic intros. Here was the idea on this, Peter.
Yes.
I was thinking about intros. I wanted to do some kind of episode intros. We get asked and emailed about intros all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about, like, well, we've done stuff on how to create your own intros and all that stuff. And I was like, well, why don't we just talk about 7 like go-to great intros? And I was thinking, what makes a great intro? You could play any of these intros that we have here today. You can go anywhere in the world on any jam session stage where there's jazz musicians involved.
Yes.
Play any of these intros,
Yeah.
and everybody's going to know what's about to happen.
Right.
There's no question what the tune is you're about to play. This is how, it's not the only way you would intro this tune.
No.
But it is like, if you do this, everybody's like, oh, that's all the things you are. There's no question, right? The intro is almost a part of the tune, at least the most sort of famous versions of these tunes. In some cases, they are actually a part of the tune.
Well, I guess that's why you have labeled these 7 classic intros, hence the word classic.
Yeah,
classic.
And this is classic. So this is Bebop edition because I did have some intros queued up from sort of the mid-'60s, from the 70s, even some from more modern times. And I was like, well, there's so many. I had like 15.
Did you have a Steely Dan intro or a Stevie Wonder? Or perhaps a Sade?
Yes.
No,
there were some Stevie Wonder intros. But, we can maybe do a 70s version of intros. We can maybe do a cool jazz. I don't know. We could do all kinds of things. We could just do monk
cool
tunes.
Jazz. What is that?
I don't know. But we could do or big band, like iconic big band intros, whatever.
I love the Harry Iconic Big Band. That is the best group ever.
Wow, that's
with with the screens and the
That's called a callback, folks. That's called a callback. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So should we jump right in? I can throw up the first one if we're ready, if I'm not giving anything away here.
Yeah, again, check out the PDF. You can download that in the description here of the app. Or you can just enjoy listening to the intros, because that's really what we're going to do. We're going to listen to them. We're going to kind of talk about them and maybe break down like what makes them what they are. Like why are they an intro? Because there's different kinds of intros that we have.
Are we going to critique them? Are we going to criticize them? Are we going to find ways to improve upon them?
Buddy, these are timeless. They can't improve upon masterpieces.
I mean, they're classic. You got it written right there.
So this is our first iconic bebop intro here is from A Night in Tunisia, written by Dizzy Gillespie. This is Charlie Parker playing it. And
Charlie who?
You ever heard of him? Charlie Parker. So this is here, A Night in Tunisia, of course, with that iconic Tunisia. Tunis. This is with that iconic bass line intro.
Reminds me of my Aunt Eunice.
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
Quick and to the point. Some of these get right into it, and this is one. So what's going on here? What's up with this intro? So this is a way you can actually design your own intros. They're basically taking, you have the tune itself, the bass line, that little riff that's happening in the horns underneath the melody, and they just decide to sort of, break it down to its parts before they add it all together to its sum.
Right.
So they start with the bass line, then they add the little riff that's in the middle. First they add the drums, then they add the riff with the horns, and now the melody's in, and the whole thing's complete. I mean, this is not something that is uncommon in any form of music, from bebop to country to hip hop. This is how intros are made.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think this one, we're going to see this some other places, but not always. The continuation into the melody of the intro, that makes this a little bit unique, right? So that it's not, I mean, we always talk about, and I think we'll see with classic intros, with great intros, there's always a connection. There's always something. It's never just a totally disconnected, disjointed part. But this one, I think more than anything, it just flows right into it. It's additive, as you mentioned, start with the bass line, then the drums, and then the horns, and then Dizzy. That's Dizzy, right?
I think that's Miles.
Is that Miles?
It might be.
I thought this was the Dizzy.
It might be Dizzy.
Yeah. But, then you've got that melody on top while that continues, which is really cool. And it's great stuff. Now, you have in here, because, our listeners occasionally will make note of a errant note of ours. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Is there an errant note here?
No, I don't know, because you're going down to that D flat. Is that right?
Yeah, so let's hear this again. I'm going to make sure.
I always thought it was.
Well, let's listen. Let's listen. I think it's the triad.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Well, see, Adam Maness,
big
ears. We call him Big Ears Maness.
Let's play along with it. Yeah, I think this is right. I checked it.
Okay, and then what about the pickup note to the second bar? Oh, sorry.
I'm hearing it, at least in this version, I'm hearing it under.
Can you pause it right after the...
I think actually...
You're right.
I think the band is not...
I think there's both.
There's both.
Nice.
The guitar is definitely under.
Yeah. So it's a harmony.
It's a harmony, yeah. Yeah, so I would say either's fair game.
That's right.
If on the original recording,
take your choice.
Yeah, take your choice. Yeah.
So, nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't phrase it like that.
Well, whenever I look at the notes written like this, I just get very serious about it. Now, so can we talk about the because that's such a genius.
I love it.
Syncopation. So you got the ding ding ding. Yeah. Exactly. And that's really the claves, what you're talking about. Claves are a lot of people think it's only in Afro-Cuban music and whatever. But there's a clave is just a repeated syncopated rhythmic pattern that repeats, that's kind of like the underlying skeleton, if you will, of a repeated phrase. And so here you've got a great setup because you've got do boop do bop. Like a lot of people think of this as like 1, 2, 3, 4 ba ba da bop, but the line is really boo boo do bop. Like it's all leading to that and of two.
Absolutely.
Bop bop. And so then you're playing off that with the boop, then you've got the and of one. So you set, you're setting up the listener for the and of two, and then you hit him with that and of one.
Totally.
Bam.
Totally. And even if you are not playing the solo piano, but you're still going to play this tune, and let's say you're playing piano in a quartet situation.
Yeah.
The bass player starts the tune. Go ahead, Peter. Give me a bass line here. Like now, if you know this intro, right? If you're familiar with it, you can add a little bit. Before the horn player comes in, you know what I mean? So knowing these intros, I think, is really crucial. Don't sleep on the intros to these classic tunes,
because otherwise you'll wake up during the head.
That's
confused.
Right. But also, one of the whole points of this episode is that you can step on stage anywhere, and you don't have to say anything. You can just go, and the band is going to know what you're calling.
Right.
I mean, they should.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what if somebody sits down and says, you say, no, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
That's the wrong intro.
What are you playing? No, actually, so even that bass line, I mean, I did some diving into this today, and there's tons of different versions of this.
Okay, good, because I was like, man, am I doing it wrong here?
And just a caveat on this, too. We're not saying that these are the only intros that you should use on these tunes.
We are.
No, we are
Yes,
not.
we
Peter,
are.
we are not getting dogmatic
I'm
about
not,
it.
but Adam is.
No, I am not.
You'll hear it.
I am not saying that. What I'm saying
He is not saying that.
I am not saying it. No, what I'm saying is...
You'll hear it.
What I'm saying is these are just sort of, I think, the most well-known intros of these tunes. They're good to know.
They're good to know.
That's all you
Now you know. Now you know.
But if anything, these could give you ideas of how to jump off of this intro, create your own intros using sort of, this is your jumping off point.
That's right. That's right.
Conversation starters.
Right. And I think the important thing, if you do something else, is like, that's like finding those, that's really that inner clave of that line and finding where that rhythm is, so that as you construct something else or put together some like riffing with your right hand or whatever, if you're pianist, guitarist, that the inner pattern. Because, once you feel that, you don't have to worry about like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and all that kind of stuff. You kind of start to feel that repeated pattern, and it starts to make sense.
Agreed.
Yep.
Let's go to our next one. So we'll stick with some Charlie Parker here, and we'll play some Yardbird Suite. Now, this is an intro that is not, you don't hear a lot when people call this at a jam session, but I wish. Again, phrasing, Peter, phrasing.
Well, I'm just reading it like on the page, buddy.
Let's check it out.
G pedal.
A little more swinging.
Yeah.
Come on. How about that feel? What I love about this intro, there's so much to like about it.
Man, they don't like take a beat or 2 beats or 2 bars to start swinging. They're just like 1, 2.
Yeah.
You better be ready.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you really better be ready to swing. But also, so it's kind of based around this G pedal here that's happening in the bass.
Yeah.
But let's listen to it again. Just listen to the bass and listen to how that tension of the pedal, when it gets released, when they finally start playing and the bass player walks through the changes, how good that feels to get off of that G pedal.
And never leaving a quarter note.
Yeah, all quarter notes. Check it out. You know what I mean? And when you get to the changes, it's like, what? Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but Charlie Parker was an early afflictor of stank face, what we now know as...
He was a causation.
Yeah, it used to be called Charlie Parker's disease.
That's right.
Now it's called stank face now.
So that's that open G on the bass, ding, 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 ding. Then he goes up and hits that harmonic. How many times have we heard bass players do that on the G string?
They love that G. They love
but it sounds good.
Yeah.
But the rhythmic clarity and the swing, and you know what? Let's just say this gentleman is playing on top of the beat. Can we say that?
It's leaning forward.
It's leaning forward.
It's leaning forward in a great way.
But very appropriate on the pedal, and because of what the vibe is. So it's introducing the feel and the vibe. And they had to make these records short anyway.
Yeah.
So the intro can't be, you don't got a minute to set up the vibe. You got to set up the piano. So it's like right on top. And then it kind of settles in a little bit. So that's sort of part, like right as he starts walking, the actual line, getting and leaving from just the G and the melody starts, it pulls back where it's not behind. It's never behind the beat. Let's talk about that. But it pulls back a little bit. So I think that's really like an overt part of what the intro is on this.
Man. So what I love about what the pianist is doing here, and I don't know how much of this was really planned or if they just said, G pedal up front.
Right.
It's hard to know, right?
Yeah.
But so the tune is in C.
Yeah.
And the pianist starts in C. But what the pianist is really setting up, not only are they setting up the harmony by going between C and D flat over that G pedal, but look at what they're doing rhythmically. And what happens after that? They're setting up that and, right? I mean, they really are.
And I would say too, at the end, like bar 4 and bar 8 of this, when you're coming back, I know it's not as accented as those upbeat syncopations, but playing back to the on the beat. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that last boom. And then the next one being up, that sets up that syncopation, because we always look at syncopation as like setting up a pattern and then breaking it. It can't all be the same thing, or else it's not really syncopation. And then the same thing, 1, 2, ding. So that one ends on 3, 2, and then you got bang. Yeah, it's all about the rhythmic setup.
And I'm not sure how much of that was actually planned, like I said, ahead of time, or how much of it is just intuition.
Yeah,
of just like, we know what the tune is. I'm gonna, as a pianist, like I can set it up so that we have the feel of what this tune is gonna be. You know what I mean? Keeping
intuition.
That feel.
Intuition. I'm just saying.
Let's hear it again. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Think about it.
I will. Okay, let's listen one more time. Here's Yardbird Suite. Here's the intro.
Yeah, that. When it goes there. That's a really strong statement there on that last bar. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
That's some brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Agreed. Probably was not planned out.
Just vibed, right?
Just vibed. Because it sounded,
Yeah.
He was intuition to know that was going to sound good.
Again, we're listening to 7 classic intros, Bebop edition. We're keeping it
real up in her.
We're trying.
You know what I'm saying?
So this tune is one we talked about last week in our Dusty podcast episode, all about finding the
not to be confused with our Bebop Classics episode. That was in our Dusty Real Books. That was Dusty Real Book,
the
right?
Dusty Real Book, yeah. Trying to find the dustiest changes we possibly could, and All the Things You Are was one of them. And one of the not dusty versions that we listened to was the version we're about to listen to now.
Well, and just before you say that, I would just say that we're checking in on our bonus episodes that we're releasing every week too, because we got a little blowback on the Dusty episode. We're going to talk about that later on the bonus episode. But that's available now for people listening.
I love it.
Because I'm going into the future. So
I love it. I love the blowback.
You know what I'm saying?
So this is All the Things You Are, Jerome Kern. Jerry Kern.
Jerry. What's up, Jerry? JK!
And this is definitely one. You play this, there's no doubt about what's going on.
Spiddy bong.
Yeah, this is as classic as it gets. So if you don't know this one,
now's
your chance. Check it out. Beautiful. So that's All the Things You Are. So it's actually a similar concept to what just happened in Yardbird Suite, where the Yardbird Suite was that G pedal with the C and the D flat, that half step movement over the tonic.
Yes.
And this is a half step movement, but over the 5 chord.
Yep.
So this is D flat, 7 sharp 9, or maybe altered, and to the 5 C7. Yep. So it's but there's no pedal. So it's just that flat 6 down to the 5.
And what I love about this is once you know this and have heard it, or even once you get to the melody and know that it starts on F minor, it's got a lot of harmonic logic to it, because the D flat 7 is just like a substitute. It's like a 2-5-1, right?
Yeah.
G13 to C7,
Totally.
sharp 9 to F minor. But when you're just hearing it for the first time,
You
it's
have no idea.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, it's like, what's going on? Like, so it's got kind of a mysterious sound, because what starts on a sharp 9 and then goes down? And
You're like, what is this, Jacob Collier?
Yeah.
You know?
But then it's like, so it gives that great tension and release, really based not only around certainly the rhythm, but the same kind of thing where like our other examples where you've got a syncopation and then it goes to non-syncopated, but also just that harmonic resolution that's built into it, which is great. And then a cool melodic bass line. So that's another thing we're seeing a pattern of on some of these, is on the intro, the bass line doing the heavy lifting for any kind of melodic or motivic development.
Give the bass player some, up front. It's always good. Always good.
Of course, they're like, why is this all I get? Well, what's happening?
Yeah. So next up, all right, now, we are definitely not just vamping out with these, with this next intro. One of the best intros in all of.
This is a little controversial, though. I'm just saying.
Why? What are you talking about?
Wait, what's next?
Joy Spring?
Yeah.
What's
Is this
up?
bebop?
Buddy.
Is it?
Joy Spring?
I'm asking.
Clifford Brown?
Asking for a friend.
He's no friend of yours. I'll assure you. I don't know. I don't know. I always.
Don't get non-confident now. Come on.
I'm
just asking.
No, that's what we were talking about earlier is people saying that Clifford Brown is a bebop. Maybe technically not. I don't know. I always considered him and the Max Roach records. Those are classic bebop.
I say yes. Please hit us up in the YouTube comments.
Hard bop? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know.
Also, no one cares.
Neo soul bop?
Nobody cares.
Neo cran bop?
It's Clifford Brown's music. That's what it is.
That's
and it's
right.
Absolutely beautiful. It's Joy Spring. This is one of the greatest intros ever. Check it out.
Greatest bebop intros ever.
Okay. You like that, right?
He kind of did it the way I was phrasing it. It's kind of straight on those last 8 notes.
What are you talking about? Oh, he did it. Well, that's kind of a very like
exactly.
Yeah.
Now we go to the main bebop tune.
I tried to. So this is just my transcription from this morning. I'm not sure how accurate the voicings are. Someone will correct me, but that seemed right to me at the time.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
I think so. This is Richie Powell, I believe.
I think it is Richie Powell. Yeah.
That's right.
Something like that. Definitely the top note's right. the quality is right. Isn't that great? Just set up your tune there.
Yeah.
Whew. Man, that's so killing.
And then this one's kind of a fun. This will be for another episode when we talk about outros, because Clifford Brown's love the intro outro kind of bookends, but different bookends, not the same bookends. Because on All the Things You Are, don't they on that version go back to at the end for the end vamp maybe?
Let's see. They do.
Yeah.
This is the end.
So that's like a more of a straight bookends. This one they reference this, but it's something like
it's part of the outro too, right? Which is those.
They go down to that D flat.
These changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then.
Now we got to do
So
iconic
cool.
outros.
I
man.
know. No,
All right.
cool
So let's
stuff.
check out the intro again, and we'll check
Yep.
out the head out too.
Max Roach precision drumming.
Such a great tune.
You know what's so cool?
Hold on,
I think it's. Oh, sorry.
This is the head out now.
Ska-pa.
Head out now. That's amazing.
Sharp 11. So I believe this is Harold Land. This is not Sonny Rollins yet. I think this is Clifford Brown and Harold Land phrasing so beautifully together.
Yep.
But what I love out of coming out, there's a lot of stuff even back in the intro. Bum, 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 bum. The vibe that they come in is so different than the way those eighth note line is played. Not only is it not as straight, it's just such a more relaxed, not more relaxed, it's just different, which I think is great because an intro can be very evocative of what's to come, but it can also have a nice little contrast to it, which is what I think it is in this case. And I think it just sets it up so beautifully.
Yeah, gorgeous.
But I love Clifford Brown, and I think he's bebop, so, to each his own. That's just the way.
So
Sue me. I love Clifford Brown.
Next is Bud Powell, Bouncing with Bud.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Pull it up, man.
Bouncing with Bud. So this is not just for the kids out there. This is not a drug reference. Bouncing with Bud. This is about Bud Powell. This is not the other kind of Bud. Is that correct?
Wow. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we want to be clear because there's a lot of
nobody was thinking that, Peter. Nobody was thinking.
Everybody was.
No one was thinking it. This is a simple one, but classic.
Yep.
What's wrong with just doing the one and the
I know.
half step up? Come on now.
But you know what? There's a little bit of, not complexity, but there's another part to it that's not here in the chart. Not that it should have been, but that's important. Ba-doo-da, bang, ba-doo-da,
Those little hits.
bang.
Yeah, let's hear those again.
That
Let's
little
hear this again.
rhythmic counter melody.
That's a good point.
Yes.
I should have put that on the
No,
chart.
no, I wasn't saying that.
No, it's important.
It's crash cymbal and piano.
Also, the bass line. Check out what the bass player's doing.
He's playing complicated AF, actually, isn't he?
God, don't go. What the hell is going on?
Is he lost?
Is he bouncing with Bud?
He's bouncing with some Bud.
That feels great. Actually, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, I get it.
Scooby bop.
What a cool tune.
Scooby bop. Ba-ski ba-doo ba-doo ba-da ba-bebop. That's how you know it's bebop. Okay?
So good. Simple, yet effective. Again, this is our second.
Not that bass line.
Not that bass line.
Bass line's effective, not simple. Though.
Was that like a quarter note triplet thing?
I think so. I think
he
he was like doing, and then the end pin slipped out, and he had to grab it back.
Happens.
I'd never noticed that before. Isn't that interesting?
It
Headphones.
happens. It happens.
Big shout out to Sony MDR 7506s.
So next up,
Yep. Okay, let me. Oh, sorry. I got behind on my.
this is a good one. You're gonna like this one.
Oh, I love this one. I've studied this very closely, so I might be looking at your transcription with an eagle eye.
Please do. So this is Round Midnight, Genius of Modern Music, 1947. Early version of Round Midnight. Check it out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so great. So so this is the yellow record, the volume 1, right?
This is volume 1.
Yeah, on Blue Note.
I believe so.
Genius of Modern. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this version, and of course, this tune, the intro kind of evolved over the years, but the basic foundation, the harmonic framework was always the same. Like that pretty much stayed the same. But Monk loved to change up little details of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I listened to a bunch of different versions, solo piano versions, quartet versions, big band versions with Monk, and he did it differently almost every time.
Yep.
But you're right. It seemed like he just had a set of changes and an idea for this theme, the
Yeah.
and then he did it in these various ways. This was the earliest one I could find, and maybe I know someone will hit me to earlier one. But I love this one too because the interplay between the horns and the piano.
Yeah.
But I think you will. I only found one or two where he didn't play an intro at all. Very rarely did he not do the intro. So if you're doing this tune, learn the intro. It's actually really
It's so
beautiful.
important. And the outro, too. We'll save that for our next episode.
You
The
gotta do
outro is
outros.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think that, so one thing to stay consistent is, and it's always good to break down, especially these slightly more complex intros, because this is this is almost like a verse kind of in a way to the tune, but is what he was doing. So, that's where we're going, but he's always got that half diminish. And I know some of the later ones he delays, but he always goes,
yeah.
So that sharp 11 kind of vibe.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But that's kind of the skeleton that you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, don't sleep on the intro to Around Midnight. On your jam sessions.
Even if it's around midnight.
Even if it's around midnight.
Yeah. You know what? I don't like playing this tune on jam sessions. I'm not going to lie. I get a little dogmatic because people play it wrong. And I don't want to be that guy, but I do. First of all, if you're on a jam session, somebody says around midnight, are you going to, I guess you could, as a pianist, you could just start on the intro. But are you really going to expect people to come in? They should.
Yeah.
No, they're going to be like, what? And like
on around midnight? If you started this intro with that figure?
A lot of bass players don't know it.
They better know
They should know it.
Well, maybe after this episode, they'll know
But
it.
then, what I don't like is you get a lot of this.
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's wrong. I mean, Miles Davis did it, so I guess it's right, but...
It's right for the Miles version. But if you're going to... Hey, listen to this, though. If you're going to play the Miles version, you better play the Miles intro.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean.
Like set
it's
it
like,
up. Yeah.
But that goes back to our... We covered this last week.
Yeah.
With the Dusty real book.
Yeah, we can get really dusty.
Yeah.
You know who can even get dustier, though? Our listeners.
Dusty Springfield. We established that last week, too.
Rick Springfield.
Rick Springfield. Dusty Springfield.
All right, let's go on. This is number 7. It's our final intro. This is another Monk tune, and it's another intro that when you play this intro, everybody knows what you're about to do.
Question.
Yeah.
Why is Monk, there's no dispute if Monk is bebop, but there's this big dispute if Clifford Brown is bebop?
I think there is dispute if Monk is bebop.
Oh, come on. He's one of the architects of bebop.
I know. We'll find out
If you think he's one of the architects, hit that like button. Okay? Yeah, come on. And subscribe.
Let's check it out. This is I Mean You, another simple intro, but this is not as simple as it looks.
No. Oh, this is from Genius too, isn't it?
This is Art Blakey.
Oh, that's the Art Blakey. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love this one because of that horn hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hear it again.
It's kind of fourthy voicing for Monk.
So check it out there. Really, what's great about this is the rhythmic themes that are happening. Ba da 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 ga da do.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, phrased exactly like Monk. But that little turn there and how he displaces it,
Yeah.
on and off the beat, again, a little bit over the bar line thing happening there, and that big hit at the end, which I just kind of made that chord up. It's something like that.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like an E flat 9 or B flat minor 6
Yeah, for sure.
situation.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Like, you got the rhythmic contours of this, and there's I look at this as there's two main areas that are unexpected and kind of throw you off. And look, Monk loved to do that. He loved to like pull the rug out from under you at just the right place, but always have like some really cool, pretty melodies that are memorable to kind of hold the whole thing together. A lot of symmetry in his music, I think.
Yeah.
But the main thing is you got you're starting on that and of 4, going into 1, 2, and he did this faster sometimes. 1, 2, 3, go. Like, those are very, when you look at the music and it's kind of basic looking. But if you're to the listener, it's like you're starting off like, whoa, because it's not it's so like you're already
A little bit, yeah. Like,
you're
whoa.
already, it's like bam,
Yeah.
and you don't even know it until you hear the groove established, which happens pretty quick. But then also the fact that it's so like, this sounds like it's an E flat blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it sounds like it's going, right? So the fact that exactly.
There you go. There you
But
go.
I mean, but then I mean, it's like whoa, and it's a whole step down. So it's not like it's the 5 or even like on All the Things You Are, where it's like like an alternate 2-5-1, and then so it kind of does resolve in a way that makes sense once you get your bearings. This kind of pushes you into your bearings, yeah. And plus, it's like evocative of a bluesy thing, but it's dominant, but it's really just a major pentatonic.
Well,
right?
I mean, do you think it was because the bridge goes to this E flat?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a little foreshadowing.
It's a little foreshadowing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you could also, by the way, you can end the tune with this. A lot of people end the tune with this intro as well.
Right.
Like tops and tails. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Those are our 7. What is it? 7
classic intros.
Classic intros.
Bebop
edition. Let us know if you want to hear some other editions. We can do avant-garde edition.
Ooh.
Classic intros.
Well, that's a classic because you don't know when the intro starts and stops.
For sure.
We could do classic smooth jazz intros. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh. What's up, girl? You know it.
Actually, classic smooth jazz would have to be like.
Oh, that's the good smooth jazz.
That'd have to be a classic, right?
Mr. Magic. Yeah, we should do that. Classic smooth jazz intros.
It'd be fun.
We could do classical intros. Classical intros. That would be weird.
Dun, 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 dun. That's a great intro.
Is it the intro or is it the beginning of the
That's
tune?
a great intro. I think it's an intro. That's setting up the tune, right?
Yep. Sounds so good on the roads. No, it doesn't. We could do classic ballad intros.
We have a couple of those here. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. Like around midnight, me?
Yeah, come on.
No, but this was great. This is good. I appreciate it. We are brought to you today, as we often are, by a little organization called Open Studio.
I like it.
We are hosted by Open Studio, physically hosted in the studio and on the interwebs.
True.
If you go to openstudiojazz.com, we have a lot of exciting things. I think none more exciting currently than something that we just launched officially to the public. It just left beta. Did you know that?
What are you talking about?
Open Studio Pro.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
You are the architect of it.
Yeah. I love some Open Studio Pro. We got some Open Studio Pro folks listening live now here as we're recording this because, they're the best.
They are the best.
Yeah.
And, so if you go to openstudiojazz.com/pro, you can learn about this program. I can tell you more about who it's not for. This is not for people that are just dabbling their toes in. These are people that are ready to go to the next level. They're at all different levels. It's not about like you have to be Herbie Hancock, but you have to be committed mainly to the community. That's, I think, the most exciting thing I'm seeing there with Open Studio Pro. Of course, you are leading folks up daily, every weekday live, which is super exciting. You don't get that anywhere else except Open Studio Pro.
No, it's a real community, and you can come in live. You can listen or watch the Open Studio Pro daily guided practice sessions after the fact.
Yep.
There's PDFs. There's ear training classes. There's
Is lurking allowed? Is lurking allowed?
Lurking is allowed. There's rhythm classes. There's transcribing club, which we just had today. We're transcribing some Peter Martin. I don't know if you know this.
Yuck.
Someone requested to transcribe some comping. So we're transcribing you comping behind Reuben Rogers' solo on Tree Stay on your rhythm section
nice.
fundamentals course. Yeah, because it has some video so we can see sort of your hand shapes.
Nice.
So just trying to get better at music.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing together. And like what I love about it, and I don't know if this is a selling point or not, but I'm learning as well. Like it's like basically like I'm an advanced student trying to learn and grow, and we're doing it together, and
awesome.
and we can talk about it and guide each other. And it really is a great community, man.
Yeah.
So
I want to join.
yeah, well, I think you're already a member.
I'm going to sign up.
You're not only the president.
Cool. So check that out at openstudiojazz.com. And I don't know. Until next week, are we ready to say that?
Yeah, you'll hear it. You'll hear it.
You'll hear it.
Okay.